Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for joining today's live stream as always. So, of course, before I get started, I do want to mention my website because I have been working on it. I'll continue to update it and continuing to add new information on there, new blog posts every week. So that website is bponlinefitness.com. Again, it's not just about learning about online coaching, but it's also about just a ton of free information as it relates to fitness, nutrition, on my fitness blog. I also post these live streams that I do weekly on the homepage of my website, so you can check it out there as well. Of course, if you do want to learn about online coaching, you can go on there to learn about that. I also have a way for you to sign up to the email newsletter that I send out every week. So that's another thing that you can benefit from. So, ton of information there. If you have any questions about anything as it relates to online coaching or anything I have on my website, feel free to reach out. If there's any feedback that you have, I would be willing to take that feedback and make adjustments to my website as needed. But again, you can check that out. Share it if you would like to, because I do put a lot of work into that website. Very thankful and proud of what I've made so far with it, and I hope to continue to build it. But with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and talk about today's topic, which is the benefits of flexibility and mobility. So this is a topic that I have likely discussed in the past, but I want to bring it back up because this is a very important topic, especially when it relates to, preventing injury, helping to prevent muscle imbalances, and anything of that nature. So let's go ahead and get started with talking about this topic. So there's going to be various things that I'm going to go over when talking about mobility and flexibility. So we're going to talk about, of course, understanding what flexibility and mobility is, some of the benefits that come with integrating flexibility and mobility in your workout routine, some techniques and practices, um, and then as well, I guess I should say, we're going to talk about the benefits, techniques, and then integrating flexibility and mobility into your routine, and common mistakes and misconceptions that come with flexibility and mobility. So that's all of what we're going to be talking about today. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment and I can answer those for you. I do have access to a second screen here where I can see comments as they are in the stream. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Or, of course, if the stream ends, you can still leave a comment if you have questions about anything I discussed today. So the first thing is understanding what flexibility and mobility is. So flexibility basically refers to the ability of a muscle or a muscle group to lengthen passively through a range of motion. It's typically assessed by how far you can stretch a muscle without any active effort. So that's basically, in simple terms, it's basically stretching. Stretching a specific muscle, elongating that muscle is basically what sort of defines flexibility. Mobility refers to the ability of a joint to move actively through its full range of motion. It encompasses not only the flexibility of the muscle around the joint, but also the health of the joint itself, including bone structure, cartilage, and synovial fluid. So, mobility, I would really classify as sort of workouts that help to improve your mobility are mainly dynamic stretches. If you haven't heard me talk about dynamic stretches before, dynamic stretches are almost like workouts. They're almost like your normal workout. However, they're more focused on basically stretching the muscle rather than just, completely engaging it in a workout, if that makes sense. So there's a bunch of various different dynamic stretches that you can do along with static stretches. Static stretches are the direct opposite of that, whereas dynamic stretches is basically doing a stretch movement. Static stretches are just, of course, elongating that muscle, stretching that muscle, and holding that tension for a extended period of time, whether that be 30 seconds or, any amount of time that is basically sort of stretching that muscle. So keep that in mind. But that's what I want to sort of differentiate the two, is that flexibility is more of being able to, lengthen that muscle in a more static position, whereas mobility is being able to move that muscle and, being able to just actively go through the full range of motion with that muscle. So, what are some of the benefits of flexibility and mobility? So, there's various exercises, and I'm not going to go too far deep into the exercises per se, but I will sort of discuss some of the various benefits, and I will sort of mention a few exercises that can be sort of classified under, related to flexibility and mobility. So, of course, this helps to improve flexibility, can help improve, or excuse me, can help prevent injuries by allowing muscles and joints to move through their full range of motion, because this can reduce the risk of strains and sprains. So, what I always mention with my clients is that you do really need to integrate, a warm up into your routine. And I always list that in the workouts. When I give my clients a workout plan, they always have a warm up phase that they start with. Usually it's maybe just a handful of exercises, any kind of static stretches, whether it be, say for example, we're targeting the back and biceps. You're going to want to do stretches that are specifically targeting those specific muscles. Maybe like a lat stretch, any stretch that is specifically, extending the biceps in particular. You could do a foam roller based stretch, which foam roller is something I do want to dive deep into in the near future, and sort of do a specific sort of explanation of that particular piece of equipment, because it is very much beneficial. I've used it myself, but it sort of is a crucial part of flexibility in itself. But I'm not going to discuss that too much into detail today, but I will do in likely a future live stream discuss some of the benefits that come with including a foam roller to, be able to stretch with. Um, but like I said, the warm up is basically flexibility based exercises, any stretches that are specifically stretching the targeted muscle for that day. So that would be back and biceps, any sort of stretches that are targeting the back and biceps. When you're incorporating that into your routine, you're helping to prevent injuries because you're giving those muscles time to prepare. You're basically stretching those muscles and allowing those muscles to move in a more full range of motion because you have those muscles prepared before you go into your actual workout. So, greater flexibility can improve athletic performance. So, by increasing the efficiency of movements and reducing muscle stiffness, which can be beneficial in activities like running, dancing, or sports, good mobility ensures that joints can move freely and efficiently, which helps maintain joint health and prevents stiffness and arthritis. Better mobility enables more effective and pain-free movements in daily activities and athletic endeavors, improving overall quality of life. So this is again not just about, you know, about preventing injuries in exercise, but also to help in your day-to-day activities. The more that you include stretching and just dynamic stretches in your routine or using a foam roller, you're going to notice a difference in how you not only perform in your workouts, but also how you can go about your daily life. So that's something to keep in mind. So the next point here is talking a little bit about the techniques and practices when it comes to mobility and flexibility. So there's, like I've mentioned, and I've already mentioned two of these. Like I mentioned, there's various different types of techniques for flexibility. So static stretching is one of those. So basically, again, I'm going to sort of reiterate these. I know I sort of touched on these, but I still want to discuss them. So Static stretching, of course, is holding a stretch in a challenging but comfortable position for 15 to 60 seconds. So it's just holding a specific stretch for an extended period of time. So this is best done after workouts or as a standalone session to improve muscle length and flexibility. So, an example, you've got hamstring stretches, quadricep stretches. There's a ton of various different stretches that I can discuss when it comes to this. Basically, just keep in mind that you're holding that muscle, stretching that muscle for whether it be 15 to 30 to 60 seconds for an extended period of time. So, another type of stretch is a dynamic stretch, which is like what I mentioned previously, of course. And this is moving parts of your body through a full range of motion in a controlled and smooth manner. So, this is ideal for warming up before exercise or sports activities. This can include leg swings, arm circles. Again, these are almost like workouts or exercises in themselves. However, they're not, as intensive as a normal sort of exercise. They're more just to get you prepared for the workout rather than being an exercise in itself. So just know that that's what a dynamic stretch is. So the next one is something that I've not really discussed, which is a PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation stretch. So it's a form of stretching that involves alternating between contracting and relaxing the muscle group being stretched. So this can be used to increase flexibility and is often preferred with a partner. So you contract and relax a hamstring stretch. So in other words, it's kind of in between a static and dynamic stretch is basically what a PNF stretch is. So that's something else that you can keep in mind. Just know that static stretches are, of course, best done after workout. Dynamics are best done ideally for a warm up. And don't, misunderstand me that you can still do static stretches and dynamic stretches, at whichever, if you want to do them in a warm up or cool down, whichever you're comfortable with doing. However, they're more ideal, I should say, for, specific situations. So keep that in mind. And then the PNF stretch, of course, is to increase that flexibility. It can be done outside of just your warm up and cool down, or you could integrate it into that. So keep that in mind. So, what are some techniques for mobility? So, like I just discussed earlier in this presentation, I discussed a little bit about foam rollers. And the reason why I mentioned this is a very beneficial piece of equipment that a lot of people may not be as familiar with. So, foam rolling, or known as self-myofascial release, is using a foam roller to apply pressure to muscle tissue to release tightness and improve range of motion. So, the practice is useful before or after workouts to prepare muscles or aid in recovery. A lot of times, I give this foam rolling based exercises for my clients post workout for them to do because it is very beneficial for the recovery aspect after performing the workout. And the way that foam rolling works is very similar to a static stretch, and that you're not necessarily rolling over the muscle, but you are technically rolling over the muscle, but you're rolling over the muscle until you feel the tension in the muscle. And once you feel the tension in that targeted muscle, no matter what muscle you're trying to target, let's say, for example, you're targeting the back. Once you start to feel, you're this is something again I'm going to discuss further in a future live stream because I think it'd be beneficial to really see it more visually. But basically, it is very similar to a static stretch, but you're using a foam roller and you're rolling over the foam roller until you feel a amount of tension in your back, and then once you feel that tension in your back, you're holding that stretch for an extended period of time. Again, this can be 15 to 30 seconds. It may be even longer than that, but that's basically what the foam roller is sort of another way where you can sort of integrates, flexibility and mobility all at the same time because you're stretching that muscle while also, allowing it to, release the tightness in that muscle at the same time. So, for example, rolling out the calves, the quadriceps, like I mentioned, there's a back foam rolling base workout, there's a lower back workout, or lower back sort of foam rolling stretch, I should say, instead of workout, because it's not technically a workout, it's more of a stretch. And it's helping to to improve your mobility. So, dynamic mobility drills. So, these are sort of exercises. So, engaging exercises that involve moving the body through a range of motion to improve joint function. So, this is effective as a warm up to enhance mobility and movement efficiency. This can include lateral lunges, inchworms. This sort of workout is more of lot based body weight exercises, is what this is for. This can include anything such as that, any sort of body weight based workouts that is sort of getting you prepared, for whatever it is that you're targeting that specific day, whatever muscles you're focusing on. So, the next point I want to make here is integrating flexibility and mobility in your workout routine, which I sort of discussed a little bit about some of the techniques, but I want to explain a little bit further into how you can integrate those into your routine. So, dynamic warm up. Of course, this is to prepare the body for exercise by increasing blood flow, raising core temperature, enhancing joint mobility. So, you would want to include some dynamic stretches, perform active stretches like leg swings, arm circles, walking lunges to loosen up the muscles and joints. You can also include a joint mobility exercise as well. So focus on key areas like the hips, shoulders, ankles with movements like hip circles, shoulder rolls, and ankle rotations. And this can be at a duration about 5 to 10 minutes. Again, a warm up is not a complete exercise in itself. It's just to prepare the body for the workout you're going into. So it is just a warm up phase. So some of the benefits, of course, with the dynamic warm up, primes your body for a workout and improving movement quality and reducing that risk of injury. So dynamic warm up is basically a warm up that is involving more movement. Whereas with a lot of warm ups, you may not do as much more movement, but the dynamic warm up is just really to get yourself going. You're including more active stretches, more mobility based exercises to get you started for your workout. The next point I want to mention is incorporating mobility exercises. So, like I mentioned, sort of reiterating this again, this is to improve movement patterns, enhance exercise effectiveness, and maintain joint health. So between sets, use mobility exercises such as a cat-cow stretch, thoracic spine rotations, or hip flexor stretches between sets of strength exercises. This helps maintain mobility and prevents stiffness during the workout. Supersets, you could pair mobility drills with strength exercises, for example. Follow a set of squats with a hip opener like the pigeon stretch. Again, the duration of this is 1 to 2 minutes per exercise. And when you're integrating this mobility exercise, keeping this it's going to help keep the joints lubricated and muscles flexible throughout the workout, leading to better performance and reducing the chance of injury. So that's what you can do with mobility exercises. That's a way that you can integrate it. Now, keep in mind that you don't necessarily have to integrate this type of, sort of exercise in your routine. It can be beneficial if you're really wanting to improve mobility and you're really wanting to improve your movement patterns and just improve joint health. Integrating this between sets can be a very beneficial thing. You could do it as superset. Again, and it only takes a few minutes between, those exercises. So post-workout flexibility and cool down. So the purpose, of course, is to aid in recovery, reduce muscle tension, improve flexibility after the workout. You could integrate PNF stretching, use proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation techniques such as the contract relax method to deepen stretches and improve flexibility. You could also include static stretching, of course, which is performing stretches like hamstring stretches, quad stretches, calf stretches, any particular muscle that is focusing on, a specific muscle to stretch. So, of course, you would hold that position between 15 to 60 seconds. Breath work, incorporate deep breathing to enhance relaxation and help muscles release tension as well. And some of the benefits, a post workout flexibility routine helps muscles return to their resting length, reduces soreness, and supports long-term flexibility and improvements. And that's another thing to keep in mind. If, great way to prevent sort of that soreness that you would have post workout is to sort of include some of those stretches in your routine, to in your cool down, I should say, post workout. And this can be around 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how many stretches you're doing. Any kind of foam rolling techniques would be good for this as well. Static stretches, BNF stretches, anything of that sort. So this is primarily to aid in that recovery post workout and just reducing that muscle tension and getting you back to a normal steady state rhythm, to get you going and back into your daily life. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Again, I hope that you found this helpful and valuable. I do want to sort of dive deep into some other topics in the future when it relates to, specific sort of exercises and give you a more, explanation on how to perform some of these workouts. Because, like I mentioned, the foam roller is one I do want to dive a little bit more deeper into because it's a very beneficial piece of equipment, that is very inexpensive, and can be really great for helping to do to add into your routine for static stretching or just light stretching. Even on recovery days, like I recommend my clients to use a foam roller just to stretch those muscles. It's just going to help. It's going to help to prevent any stiffness, any tension that you have in your muscles. It's just a great piece of equipment. But again, keep all of these in mind. Integrate a warm up routine into your workouts. Integrate a cool down when you finish with your workouts. And just keep that in mind that there's a lot of benefits when it comes to integrating stretches into your routine, whether it be static, dynamic, including flexibility based workouts, mobility exercises, things of that nature. So keep all of that in mind. So thank you guys once again. My website is bponlinefitness.com. If you have any questions about anything I discussed here today or any previous live streams, you can always reach out. I do have a YouTube channel where I upload all of my previous live streams as sort of an archive that you can check out. But with all that being said, guys, thank you again for taking the time to watch this. I will have another live stream, of course, coming up next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And thank you guys once again. I'll see you guys next week in the next live stream.